Thank you very much, Ferrer. Yes, this will be quite interesting because, as Chad said, there is no history. It's like a very. I like that line, James. It's, it's interesting. It's
one thing we can say though is that from the Vertigo that we have seen so far, MiBR have their own style on the map at the moment. I mean, again, the sample size is extremely minimal, so we don't know how much value we can put into that, how much meaning that will have. I'm assuming these guys haven't faced on Vertigo before, so there are so many questions to be answered. For me, this is completely wide open. For me, this is just a literal coin flip. I think Vertigo is like is just a complete variance map at the moment, especially with the changes. I think it's made slightly more manageable, at least in terms of the position of the bomb site, which was so woeful before. But it's still, I just think it's a high variance map. Unless
you're Optic. Shoutouts to MSL and Optic. They are probably the best team on this map right now, given what we've seen so far on this. So I hope that Complexity and MiBR have been watching some of what Optic have been doing, because they've been innovating at a rapid pace on this. But we'll see. Time will tell as we're into the pistol. And MiBR are on the T side. Some legs have been spotted, but there's 3 players to close this one down. It's a 1-for-1. That's not too bad. And here comes the push towards B. Off angle there. The right-eye peek from Rick here to see what he can get done. Not quite as much as he wants. There we go, though. Obo delivering the goods once again. And Shazam making his way forwards as well, as the CTs are pressuring this bomb site pretty hard, but it's down to Def now.
Bomb's been planted. Do they know where he is? Oh my god, what was that? Ferrari pick from Taco. He's in the driving seat, and there is a pistol round for MiBR. So far, so good. 1 round at a time. Yeah, it's such a weird map, Vertigo. I feel like if you look at most of the traditional maps, something I mentioned, I think, in an interview recently, is you don't really have the traditional horizontal plane where the T side take map control away from the CT side. It's so extremely vertical, and I think that you're kind of missing that in comparison to the more traditional maps. But let's see how it goes. This will be very interesting indeed. A flying Mac 10 will take Shazam out immediately. You can see there is a minimal investment from Complexity in this round. They're looking to bring in the big guns in the next round. Now, ideally, you don't want to be losing all your players to the SMGs. You'd rather run into a cold 0 than a fur in this situation, but maybe they won't have the choice. You can see Obo maybe trying to make it to the sandbags, not quite getting there. Bombs being planted in the meantime, and Fur will continue to hunt. Make sure no one's flanking him. Making so much money for 3 kills, looking for his 4th in Def. So again, this is a pick of Complexity, but we've seen MiBR on this map, and they're a team who are keen to definitely have their own identity on a map, and that can have mixed results. But this will be an interesting one.
We get the buy from Complexity, but they don't have too much utility, and so that's an interesting factor, because without too much utility, it's hard to deny any position towards that A bomb site. I mean, it's hard to do it anyway, even if you do have the utility. So we'll have to see how Complexity decide to play this. I think the retake utility is so critical for the A bomb side, and also to get aggressive. We've seen Optic on their CT side. They found incredible setups to, with utility, take the 4 positions on A. Nice angle though from Rick. We'll find one. No nades left at this point though, still Complexity, so they've got to hit the shots. It's getting more and more difficult now for Complexity. They're down numbers as well as down on utility. No kits as well, so no smoke diffusers this round, I would imagine.
2 minutes on the clock, Taco fishing for information, but the pool has been drained by Obo. 3v3. Fallen moving into the bomb site. He has been heard. He's collected a smoke grenade. He's got himself a rifle. He's got the bomb, so he's got to be careful. He's making a lot of noise. He's here on his own. But I wonder if he's just showing presence, or if they're trying to activate a flank from cold 0. You can spray an area from both sides. Ooh, okay, there's some information for cold. Looking for more, though. Obo will get taken out. We've got Sick lurking around the smoke. 25 seconds for the bomb to get planted. Again, we've got the alternate angle now. And they don't know where Sick is just yet. He can jump onto the structure on the left as well, so he can get quite some elevation. I'm not even sure if Fallen would necessarily have the angle, but does he think Cold Zero is the bomb planter? Or does he realize that someone else is on the bomb site? I don't think he knows for sure just yet. But now Fallen's been spotted. That's a huge headshot through the corner of the wall. There is some help in depth, but where is Fur? It seems to be on a slow flank. There is Fallen taken out. Fur doesn't have an angle to stop the defuse, but there's no defuse kit for these two players, and that bomb's quite heavily ticked. Someone's got to get on it quickly. Do they not realize this? He's got to go for it, but again, Fur doesn't have the angle. Oh, he's making some steps now. He can't quite find the angle. That is more or less impenetrable unless you're through the corner, but he's not going to make it. They took too long. They were shouting, they thought they had the round. They were celebrating too early. The balloons have been popped, there's no party, Dan.
Oh, that's so gutting. Oh my God. Oh, I thought that Fur had done it. You know, I thought that he had it in the bag. I think he thought that as well. Got a bit awkward for Fur. Got more awkward for Complexity. Ultimately, as you said, for some reason they got on the bomb way too late. But 4 HEs for Complexity to try to make good of this, and every CT round is particularly precious on this map. Fur will take down Ricky pretty much straight away as they gain ground towards B.
Whoops.
That's your teammate. Too much that can be done here for Complexity, so honestly saving at least the Kevlar and Oboe would be nice for that next round bye. Maybe steal away a weapon, punish any over-aggressions. There is one. Punished. AK collected. Reward is had. So we haven't yet seen Complexity with a 4-buy. They, on that round where they had no kit, they didn't really have any grenades that round, and yet they still made it very close. So I'm curious how Complexity will fare when they have everything.
Almost some bonus money, but not quite. And yes, I do wonder the same. MiBR, I think the CT side, I hope we get an extended CT side for MiBR, because that's where I think we see the most notable style difference from the Vertigo we have seen amongst different teams. But at that time as well, I think it's worth noting that Fallen was having the week of his life, honestly, with the AWP, and he had a big impact on some of those rounds. And that's not something that you could necessarily rely on every game. And with the way the first map has gone, don't know if he'll be warm by that time.
Still hits the glass.
Not the first time we've seen that either. People breaking a glass and still hitting glass with a grenade. Fur taken out early. Def in smoke somewhere. Got an approach towards the B bomb site. Not going so well for MiBR. Looking good for a first round for Complexity. They would love to survive in the numbers as well. Forcing MiBR away. Taka will finally win the first duel for MiBR. No answer just yet. Not sure if they know where Phelps is, although he is half health, so perhaps they have an idea. Some grenades being deployed, but he will not be able to fire, well, maybe just a one shot. And that is looking like quite a simple round for Complexity. Their first round on the board. There's more money for MiBR. AWP for Shazam. And 2 AK-47s for Complexity. So now we'll see how the likes of Oboe can deal with adversity, trying to claw back some rounds early here on Vertigo.
I'm curious how Complexity will respond to a really fast, aggressive A takes, which we haven't really seen just yet, which is fairly characteristic of this map due to how quick you can get there. But we haven't seen too much pressure. Nobo's already by the sandbags. I wonder if this is understood, because this is a really powerful position. They don't seem to be checking for this. And Nobo knows it. He uses just enough bullets. Not one more. Oh, hello. There's a foot there. Easy frag for Phelps, but Complexity have held down the A-bomb site. And now a desperate rotation of that bomb back towards B. But Ricky is holding it down.
How much professional practice could Oboe, or in general, could possibly have had on Vertigo, with how new he is to the team? Of course, the team, if they've decided to drill it and make it a specialty for them, that's one thing. We'll get to come to that in a moment. There's a minute left for Fallen. with the AWP. He's very capable of this, but it won't be made easy for him. He's only got 16 HP. Oh, loses 2. Okay, good to know. Runs away, comes back, scopes in early, especially while the flames are still up. Now you have associated sound. Ricky gets taken out, and then there were 2. 35 seconds. You can Molotov the default plant from outside the site. Not that there is a Molotov in this situation, but worth noting. We'll get some nerd facts in there. Complexity looking to move together. Here are the beeps. Sick will make his way. Jumping, Fallen comes off, looking to win. But Oboe with some pre-fire will take him out. Fallen always dangerous in those situations. And there is a consecutive round for Complexity. Smiling again.
Just happy to be here, James.
Happy to be here. Worth noting, you don't want to put that in your face. Someone tell him, please.
The chemicals, man.
Yeah, you don't want to be doing that. Keita he is a super nerd. He knows a lot of very fine detail about Counter-Strike, and that may come extremely handy in a map such as Vertigo. Oboe moving to the sandbags once again. And this is we've got the tarp again. Going behind the tarp, there are 2 different positions you can be at different elevations, which can be a problem if you want to get aggressive as a CT in this position. How about that for a peek from Fur? Only pistols for most of the players for MiBR, so I mean, you might not see that in a normal buy round, but the risks, there's a low risk there because you're not really risking too much, and that will make things a little costly for Complexity. Phelps on the hunt, and Ricky is going to get the ding-dong, and now a rifle can be collected. There's so much time on the clock for Phelps to try and do something. All he needs is a better angle, a surprise, and he could win this round.
Yeah, the one weird thing about this map as well is that you can walk between the bomb sites really quickly on the T side and the CT side. So, it does give him the option to go pretty much anywhere with limited time. So
there are so many objects to hide behind. These kind of scenarios, I think, are just horrible for all concerned. Because there are so many obstructions, which means variance.
Well, he's got some information. Does he have any idea about the second player, though? Phelps waiting for the CDs to touch the bomb. Oh, just jumping around every corner. Death with the MP9. It's difficult. Phelps did what he can. He got the bomb down at least, which is not bad. But indeed, 3 rounds in a row now for Complexity. They're looking relatively comfortable, I would say. Again, I would expect MiBR to start going a bit more quickly towards A, just because we're not really seeing utility to stop them rushing up. And, you have that hole in the woods now, or that, that wooden panel doesn't sort of cover, that wooden wall doesn't cover the whole ledge. So you can slow the T's down by throwing nays through if they are try to go for a rush timing, which used to be a pretty big problem. We haven't really seen that used too much because MiBR have not been going too quick up there. And Obo's got across to sandbags unknown a couple times, which is not the easiest thing to do. MiBR will pressure A again. This angle from Shazam with an AWP though is very dangerous. So frag towards middle there. Coldzera catching Sick, going for a push in mid.
Ooh, that's a rare miss from Shazam. That should have been a free one. Really could have done with tying up the score. You can see Obo's in an elevated position with the AUG. Ooh, some Vertigo on Vertigo. Certainly for me. Can't quite find the angle, and down he goes. 3 versus 5 in favor of MiBR. Def needs to find 2. Starting to get more aggressive now as the spray comes in. Maybe trying to punish the reload. Taking some steps. There's the first one. Still scopes, but can't find Fallen. Looking pretty sharp with the AK at the moment is Fallen. Shazam trying to avoid the flashbang. In the meantime, Phelps is creeping from the back.
Yeah, this is the play really for Phelps. Like, you can see Phelps has been dug deep, and the options were, he goes for the backstab and his team sandwich the CTs on A, or this, which is better. He's left in a forward lurking position, and his teammates get a free plant on the B-bomb site. Way better idea. That's the two options that they had. That should just be the round now for MiBR. Complexity surely want to go for a save, especially considering the money situation. And again, you know, it's very difficult to understand, you know, what kind of rounds, the amount of rounds that you kind of need, half to half, because so far, as stated on the desk, because there's no real meta that's been solidified at this point, it's very much, it's just every match is sort of the vacuum of those two teams, the stylistic matchup.
The top half of Vertigo feels like a rabbit's warren.
Okay.
Trying to go from one to the other. I feel like it creates a unique set of problems. But again, I keep coming back to the word variance. Like, it's just, there's a lot of rough spots when there are 3 to 5 people alive across both teams. I think it's kind of reminiscent of Train a little bit, but like compounded in that respect. 2-round lead now for MiBR. Both teams still on a good bye. We have the AWP for Shazam, the only one, and there's an early pick from Shazam. Fallen is taken out. Taco trying to advance, make inroads towards this bomb site, not quite working out for him though. Fur has made his way up to the crane. Stay close to the counterweights to have some protection, some cover for now, waiting for an overextension. Maybe the young Obo will do that. He's got a flashback though, repositioned slightly, and he will win the duel. And suddenly Cold Zero is the only man standing. He has the bomb, which means he has a chance. He's got time. There are a lot of places a lot of areas to hold for Complexity with these 4 players, so there's a reasonable chance that he gets a 1 versus 1. Waiting for the smoke to go, and Shazam will shoot him straight in the face. Closed casket funeral for him. The gap is close to 1.
Yeah, this is really good work from Complexity to come back into this. I think we had a glimpse into that future on their first buy round, which they lost, just because they had almost nothing to work with that buy round. No utility, no kits, and so on and so forth, but still made it very competitive just by how they played spots, how they moved around the map together, the team play, and so on. And we're starting to see MiBR, you know, begin to struggle in finding ways to find the consistency against this CT side now that it has ample money. Pressure towards A, and as you can see on your mini-map, when the circles that indicate a player's position are transparent, or there's less opacity, it's to indicate that they are on the lower level of the map. Unlike Nuke, we have kind of 2 mini-maps to show you the upper and lower level. On Vertigo, it makes more sense just to have the 1 mini-map with the transparent player icons. Shazam with a whiff, but they got all the info still.
Swing and a miss. Some HEs, or a HE, will not quite do the job there. Okay, well, we seem to have a solid execute. Now, what is the response? I don't know if Complexity are familiar with this. They're trying to boost on the sandbags. Obo goes a little too deep in the well. Seems he'll drown on this occasion. Man advantage for MiBR as they try to close in on a potential bomb plant. They've smoked off the choke points to allow them some help, but Def is going to get some spray in. He'll get traded, however, so the man advantage continues for MiBR. Shazam trying to track with the AWP, but can't quite land the railgun just yet. Now Shazam is alone, 1 versus 3. The scope will surely be heard because we have advancing on his position. Walking straight into it, though. That's not quite how to do it. Taco doesn't really have too many places he can go to. He can try to jump behind this girder. That is risky, though. He's managed to jiggle past the angle, but he'll get wrecked by the P250. Phelps will eventually trade and finish off the job. 6th round for MiBR.
Good effort from Shazam, though. Did loads of damage right at the end. Bringing MiBR just to 1 player, and he'll be able to purchase an AWP again. Doesn't have the money for Kevlar or more nades though, so it's a little bit suboptimal, the overall buy, but that's okay. Still 4 rounds, and it's hard to know how precious these CT rounds are because it just changes from matchup to matchup, from team to team. At this point on Vertigo, everyone's still trying to figure stuff out. But yeah, if you are really interested in seeing you know, amazing set pieces, nade work, setups and so on Overpass, I really urge you to check out any recent Optic demos you can find. They're ahead. I think they're head and shoulders above everybody right now on this map. So here we are, tactical timeouts as we'll see.
It's a mixed bag for both sides.
It's an interesting one because I feel like both teams are feel uncomfortable right now.
Yeah, even I do.
Everyone's uncomfortable.
Rick is down to the French gun and no grenades, and Def was the man with 4 grenades, and he's been taken out. He'll only drop 1. So plenty of shortcomings now for Complexity versus the start they had, which wasn't perfect in the first place. Obo's putting 1 player towards the ramp, but trying to keep an eye on the gap. And they wait. Not much in the name of counter grenades now. Shazam, though, will hit the shot on this occasion. It seems that Fallen may come looking for him, but how does he take the angle? Just walks into it, and he is forced out of the round. Again, just like... it's a difficult map, let's say that. Man advantage for Complexity for now, but there's so much area to cover. There's a minute on the clock. Taco gets his bell rung down to 1 HP, but he's picked up an AWP, and it will be dropped immediately by a flank from Sick. Cold Zero knows 1 man is behind him. He's got to guess Shazam is ahead of him somewhere. He's got 2 kills already, Shazam, but can he find an angle, Cold Zero? Can he find the angle? Oh, that's a very long spray. Shazam may be going back to the well there, but he gets taken out by the continuation spray from Cold. He knows Sick was behind him. An unlikely situation to get this far. Cold, he hops up and he gets the spray. That is quite an important clutch. I didn't see that one coming. I thought he was done for, but it is Cold after all.
Yeah, so crucial to pick that one up. And it's broken the money of Complexity. That one clutch is worth 2 rounds, most likely. So, Cold Zero, good work from him. Very important to pick that up. Let's not forget, if you are just joining us, Complexity blew MiBR out of the water on the first map in Train. I think it was 16-4 or something. Complexity's final score against MiBR. We're going to get a 5-man peek there towards middle, and that will be good to get a pick onto Cold and pick up an AK-47 most likely. And Fel 6 to take control towards the B-bomb sites. And here's the backstab from Taka. This could finish the round, actually. He's going to have maybe 3 players to line up for him here. There we go, the 3rd one. Maybe not. 3v3, actually, with the AK in the hands of Obo. No Kevlar, but see MiBR rushing to outmaneuver their opponents. Plant that bomb on the A-bomb site. Shouldn't be a way for it to get... for a retake to really get going.
I'm not so sure, Dan, because Phelps is on a flank, but he's quite a while away for the time being. They don't have enough smoke grenades to get the plant safer, but they do manage to do that, falling on 19 HP. This is very much doable, and Phelps, rather than continuing that flank, he's gone back towards the ramp with his teammates. Maybe that flank would have been really important, so this is a very weird situation. And MiBR can barely cover the bomb at the moment. That is a MAC-10 on Def and the AK on Obo, and it just goes from bad to worse. They separated the forces, and now they could be in a lot of trouble. Shazam loses a duel, and now it's down to new man Obo on the corner of the smoke, and he'll deliver the headshot straight onto the bomb. But has he got time to defuse it? It's going to be a close one. I'm not sure. Oh, I'm really not sure about this one. Is it going to be another tragedy? Oh, denied.
I thought he had it.
Great effort, but denied. Ultimately, it's an 8th round for MiBR. He did make it a very, very expensive, and they may end up at Complexity with a better buy despite having lost the round.
Yeah, that was crazy. I think Obo survived the final duel with 4 HP as well. My goodness. Right, oh, okay. 8-4, MiBR with a pretty good half so far, I think. Again, it's hard to know what a good half looks like just yet. The grenade hitting the glass yet again. Very unfortunate. Very fast push coming in from MiBR, uncharacteristically so far for them. And Taco is just assassinating people. 2 quick frags. And MiBR with a decisive advantage. No nades left at all on Complexity. They've been starved.
I feel like 6 rounds would be pretty good for Complexity. MiBR, yeah, I mean, if they get 6 rounds, I would say MiBR cannot be reliant on Fallen Battle Sniper. They have to have more than that. Gets caught, jumping around. Don't know how else to put it. 2 versus 3, make it 1. Sick has a lot to do now. Plenty of time for this bomb to get planted safely. Behind the sandbags, Cold Zero delivers the Galil kill. And that is 9 rounds for MiBR. So 6 rounds for Complexity, looking very unlikely at the moment, which is great news for MiBR, looking to win their opponent's pick as Complexity did on Train. MiBR, I would say, are in a pretty good position now, overall in the map, not just this half.
Yeah, definitely in a good spot. Can Complexity get those 6 rounds you're talking about? Seems like it's probably unlikely given that they're on pistols here, but you never know. You never know. They're very close in that similar round before. 4-man push here towards Phelps. Good for the 1-for-1, although there's more teams where that came from, and they'll finish it off. They'll finish the job. Looks like 10 rounds is quite likely for MiBR. There it is, secured in the bag. And Complexity best case for 5 rounds. Double ops coming out. Suzam and Rikke will pick those up. And MiBR looks pretty decent here on this T side. I think with Vertigo, things are just generally kind of shaky for everybody, pretty much, except Optic. I just have to throw their name in there just because for all the teams we've seen, James, they look very, very confident on this map.
Yeah, they do. The recognition is deserved.
Yeah.
There's a tag, but not a frag. Sick left with 12 HP. And Phelps has been taken out early. This is a much needed 5th round in my opinion. Again, it's still early, but from what we've seen so far, from the data we have seen, I think that Complexity could really do with this 5th round. They've got a man advantage for the time being, but that can quickly change. Obo sees the end of the gun, and now he could be in some trouble. Shazam will try to help him out. He's got a smoke grenade, and it seems he may be able to escape, or maybe he'll stand his ground and just wipe everybody out. Obo continues to be a problem. Cold Zero finds himself alone versus 5 players. Not about damage now. You win the round, or you lose the round. That's it. It's black and white.
Cold Zero doing what he can, which is not a lot to be done. There's a trade. And 10-5, or 5-10, I should say, is Complexity pick up the final round of the first half. It is time to go to a break. Can they have an effective T site as well? We'll find out shortly.
Nobody's gonna hold your hand when it comes to healing. Nobody's gonna understand why you still feel the way you do. I know that I am still loved. It's pretty often that I feel I just don't fit in. And that's okay, 'cause everybody's different, and not everything works out. Sometimes I just need to step back and value who I am.
Welcome back. 10 rounds for MiBR to the 5 of Complexity. Complexity now moved towards the T side. Fer inspects his bicep. Has he got the strength to bring it back to a third map after a shocking defeat on Train? A very shocking defeat indeed. We will soon find out. The pistol round could put MiBR in a very good position. We'll see if they can defend. Big odds on this map now. These are per map odds. 4.33 for Complexity. Now, those are very generous. Again, if Complexity can win the pistol, we could quickly have a tied score. This is the pick off Complexity, but now we'll have to ferry into the pistol round and the headshots and so on. They're charging in, or trying to, but the doors seem quite close at the moment. And this could be a super brief pistol round, or perhaps not. Definite 1 versus 2. Third quickly gone. Taco down to it. 78 HP. It's pretty even, but Taco definitely needs to close the distance, but he won't. Taco will close his face, and that is a much-needed pistol round for MiBR.
Yeah, that means that they've picked up both pistol rounds on this map now, and they'll give themselves the best chance to have the easiest time possible. 4 MP9s, let's go. I wonder how aggressive they'll be with those. I mean, there's so many close quarters on this map that the MP9s have a lot of value. Complexity with the force buy. What is the plan for them? One would imagine that they will have a pretty solid game plan. As noted, they have perhaps more preparation than some teams on this map. And there you go, only onto sandbags, instant smoke from Taco to keep Fer in position. That's very annoying. There's no HEs to deliver.
Let's go and knife him.
Airstrike onto Fer.
Somebody knife him, please.
Well, that'll do. CZ in the smoke from Def. It's good enough.
Complexity is still very dangerous. They've got plenty of smoke grenades. They could execute the smokes and force MiBR from their positions unless they're feeling a bit leery, and it seems they are with the forward smokes of their own. Taco taking Ricky out. So much time on the clock, but there's been plenty of smoke deployment from Complexity. The last one starts to stream in. Fallen playing up close with the UMP. He is expendable. Many of them are with the SMGs, and they've done enough for the time being. 4 versus 2. The bomb's being dropped, and Shazam will maybe be not far behind. Indeed, there he goes. Deagle kill. 2 kills for Complexity. They're looking for a bomb plant, so I think they didn't get as much out of that as they would have expected as a minimum with so many grenades when they were on the ramp. But they got deleted, so things continue to be good for MiBR. It's eco territory for Complexity.
Absolutely. Deagles, though. Poor Deagles. It's going to be interesting to see if they can do anything with that at all, to be honest, because of the close ranges of this map. Yeah. It's going to be hard, surely.
You don't have that horizontal plane, really, on this map again. I think that's one of the real main differences compared to the other maps. Denying information and so on, it's just a very different natured map in that respect. Complexity being denied across the board, it seems, in this particular round. Def will try to get something out of it, but Coldzera will deny him, and we are quickly onto the buy round, and MiBR are a mere 3 rounds away from a third map.
Indeed, but there is still ton of rounds for Complexity, and it starts here. They've got the full buy with the full utility, and
can I just note that?
Yes.
If MiBR lose another map with this much of a lead, that is nightmare fuel.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, this is that point, isn't it, where it either is very simple, and they close it down, they can forget about this, the first map and the series entirely. Obviously, they reset the situation and go to a third map. Or the big comeback, and it becomes the breakout performance for Complexity with Oboe. And as you say, MiBR's nightmare fuel. So that will be quite interesting. And it's hard not to be a fan of Complexity despite the limited preparation that they've had with this lineup. Just because, for me personally, I feel like they have some great pieces now that could work very well together. I think the aggressive and dynamic play of Oboe, how versatile he is, I think that is exactly what Complexity needed. And they have a lot of talent on their team now. A lot of talent.
But What do they have in terms of strats? They want to be a Vertigo team. Well, this is a great way to show it. Starting on the T side with Adversity, eating a perfectly timed grenade. Again, I spoke about MiBR. They most certainly have their own style on Vertigo, especially on the CT side from what we've seen so far. We saw a fair chunk of Vertigo in the online portion.
So they've actually like faked out MiBR completely. Look how out of position the entire team is. They were convinced it was BJ. There wasn't even a player on B. There was not even a player there. It's just like 2 smokes, more or less.
This is good. This tells us that we may see an extended half of Counter-Strike, and that's what I want to see. But the post-plant is not looking so spectacular. Sick maybe looking to avoid some flashbangs or hide behind the wall. Didn't quite work out for him. And look at this retake. And there are no answers at all from Complexity. Shazam's in a 1 versus 4. They're moving very, very quickly indeed. Maybe we'll see a wide swing. There's a high flashbang and he'll be eliminated. 3 players survive for MiBR. Despite being confused and being on the wrong side of the map, they survive with 3 players and they move to 14.
And one of the things there as well is that it could just be the case that, you know what, B is a site that is very difficult to retake in comparison to A. A is a more open bomb site, like getting like it's kind of like, you know what, it's very similar to Overpass, where A would be like the B bomb side of Overpass, where it's very difficult for the Ts to have effective post-plant positions. They have to fall all the way back off the site, and A on Overpass is B here, where once you have the side as the Ts, it's very easy to lock the CTs away, out and away from it. So that's perhaps why it's a bit easier in that sense to then overreact towards B, because you're more afraid of losing B. You need to get a foothold or kills as the push is coming in, whereas A you don't need to necessarily.
Grenades streaming into the B bomb site. Will MiBR take the they believe it this time? It seems they will. There's a 4th man rotating towards the site pretty quickly. Fallen moving through the smoke. Plenty of fire. There'll be an instant trade. A boost from Phelps over the smoke. Will he get 2? 1 might be good enough. The bomb being planted on default. Man advantage for MiBR. Phelps moving wide. Lots of distractions to be had, but Ricketts got a good angle. Sick looking for a rotation. Surely he gets a sound cue soon. The door behind him is closed though, which may be very helpful to MiBR indeed. They've got some retake smokes being lined up, but here comes Sick activating, but I think that's going to be a problem, that smoke grenade, but the threat of Sick lurking is a problem for MiBR as well. Still focused on trying to stop this. That bomb is so far ticked. MiBR are trapped. They've got people behind them and in front. Sick opens the door, takes the opportunity, leaves Fur alone in a 1 versus 3.
So there it is, first round, so Complexity's T side, and it looked really competitive still. So that's a great sign as far as MiBR are concerned. So looking forward to seeing if MiBR can sort of just shut this one down or not, because they do look pretty strong here. You know, it's a very different look in comparison to Train. It's so hard to know exactly what to expect. See Sick lining up a smoke grenade. Not sure where that one goes actually. Ah, towards the A-bomb site. That was a nice smoke actually. Can really create a lot of pressure, but there's a player there for MiBR. He's pretty deep on the A side of things. Oh, sprays, not bad, is it? Def and Ricket open things up towards the B-bomb site as Def continues to push forwards, pressing as much as he can to get as much space as he can. MiBR being locked out of B again. More success on B for Complexity.
How deep is their strat book? Because there is a long way to go. Just by winning this round, they'll only have half the score of MiBR, and their margin for error is not too great. Taco looking to hold on to what he has. Same can be said for Fur. So there is some momentum for Complexity, about to win their 2nd round of the half after conceding the first 4. So maybe there is something to be done. I used to visit construction sites on occasion.
All for fun.
I used to I used to when I used to work in commercial real estate. Have a look at stuff.
What would you?
We tell the engineers and architects, if you put these pillars here, then this area is worth this amount of money per square foot. But if you could make them more reasonable, then perhaps more value could be had. So on and so forth. 7-14. We have an AUG and a bunch of pistols for MiBR. There's even a smoke grenade for Taco. How fantastic. Ding, but no dong for Fallen. Shazam doesn't lose too much. Through door, I presume. He's being teased with a potential headshot, but nothing just yet. Sick will steal it away from him, and there is a clearance being made. Phelps, how many is he good for? He's done a lot of damage. But that will be the end of the round. Very brief. 8 rounds for Complexity, and now they may feel like, again, it's 6 rounds or it's 1 round 6 times. They could really creep up with MiBR unless MiBR can find a way to adjust or take the game away from Complexity. They only need to really do it once, and then the pressure will be rising very fast.
Absolutely. We're not seeing some of the same smokes that Optic were throwing. Optic have a lot of smokes they throw from T-spawn, especially towards that B-bomb site. Not seeing any of those just yet, though, I think. I'm liking the smoke towards A, though, from T-spawn. It's very difficult to deal with. Hides a lot of information. Can't see it. Doesn't hear a single thing. Okay, though, we'll catch Cold Zero in middle. See the paranoia MiBR here, looking very scared about this B-bomb site. And Fallen's there to get the trade, but systematically, Complexity removing one player after the next.
Oh, that is so huge for Fallen. He's got 12 HP, but he's made the rounds winnable. Very key rounds and kills, sorry. And Complexity have got to pick some really good post-plant positions. They need to be able to put themselves in the best opportunity to trade frag or find out early where Fallen is. 12 HP. Does he go for it? Does he look for an AWP or a better weapon or something? He will be saving, it seems, so think better of it. They've got more opportunities to get to that game point. 3 kills for Fallen. It was asking so much of him to even get to this point of 3 kills, but he did. But now the deficit will be reduced to 5, and again, they may quickly advance Complexity.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what adjustments come out of MiBR. You know, there we saw Complexity with a nice little mid-take, and off of that mid-take, they kind of are able to separate the defenders, the B and A defenders, and as we saw, that was really impactful because then they got favorable trades onto the B-bomb site. Until Fallen appeared, that is, but still. Complexity finding some consistency with that approach. We'll get a Max 7 in the hands of now. A couple of Eagles. We've got what Fallen has saved, of course, as well. Complexity moving towards the B sites for now. Fallen spawning sick through the floor. Oh no, that is beautiful. Fallen was incredible damage. They can't afford to have these problems happen. How do they recover? They've got to stabilize somehow. The ship is sinking.
This is still doable. The dangerous facts are obviously Fallen. He's the only man with Kevlar. First, extremely dangerous with a Mag 7. With only 2 players remaining, there's a lot of information. They've got a lot of personnel to find out where these players are and surprise them with a Mag 7 potentially. So it is recoverable for Complexity, but by no means is it ideal. And I think if catches one of these players before the rest of his team get wiped out, or even otherwise, then it could be curtains for Complexity and game point for MiBR. They've got just under a minute, Complexity, but there's so much for them to do. There is so much for them to do. Which way do you look? You're exposed to the left and the right at the same time. You can see Taco's playing an off angle. Oh, they both turn around at the wrong time. That's Taco over USP, so they don't care about him just yet. They want to advance, and it's Fur with the Max 7. He's the big problem in this direction. That would have been so key. That is a huge frag for Complexity. Bombs planted with 17 seconds. Now things really change.
Obo as well, able to cut off one more. And now it's a 2 versus 2 advantage. Significant for Complexity, or maybe not, because Fallen catches Obo. That's his 4th kill in this round. Def now looking to save it. The British new IGL here for Complexity. Looking to get the spray in, but the trade's there. The ace for Fallen as well. What a performance. That's 8 kills in the last 2 rounds with that AUG from Fallen. That is not bad at all. And that is 15 rounds. So impactful. My God.
Beautiful stuff. Used Taco as a dummy, basically, and then came in from the back. Used Taco to find the information. He's with a USP and no Kevlar. So his job is to die, and Fallen's job is to exploit the following information. The spray was nervous, and now it's game point for MiBR. There is money for Complexity, but that was their round. That was their bubble of air that they could. That was a breathing space for them, and now that's gone. Now they have to win 6 rounds in a row to take it to overtime. From a saved AUG, a lineup, a flashbang, beautiful stuff from MiBR. They put themselves in that position to win. We've got a tactical timeout from Complexity again. They've got the money, but now there is no margin for error. This is their map. This is their pick. This is the variance that they were, you know, that helped them get that 2-0, but the variance has not gone with them just yet.
Deep breaths on the side of Complexity. So they'll shoot out all the glass correctly this time. Nice. Some utility to slow down any fast aggressions towards A. And Fallen's by sandbags. We've seen how dangerous this position can be. However, Complexity have been Molotoving this every so often, and they're coming late towards this A ramp. So surely they will be throwing a Molotov. There it is. Smoke down immediately. Any HEs, only one on Obo. I don't know if he's there to follow up onto Fallen, but see Def has a Molotov ready for that position. Fallen, they'll flash him out. Really good work there from MiBR to get him safely back onto the site.
Riquet's taken out. 1 down, 4 to go for Complexity for MiBR to take this to Mirage, a more conventional map, one that they'll be very comfortable with. Obo feeling that pressure now, jiggling, trying to find out where the CTs are. Taco gets taken out from the back. There's an instant trade from Cole. He is beyond the smoke. You can see Def very nervous, looking for a potential trade frag, and they fall back. They've got to plant this bomb soon. Those smokes are almost gone. Some spam from Fallen. Can't quite find the angle. That was a close one, though. 2 versus 4 for Complexity. So many angles to deal with. Def running out of bullets, running out of time. And now it's sick to try and clutch it. 1 versus 3. I think he saw the corner of one player there. Tight spray for Fur. But there's too many man around. And MiBR bring it back to Mirage.
They've done it, 16-9. What a performance there from them. Oh God, it went down to Vertigo, a crushing victory at the hands of Complexity on train, and now we're all evened up. Vertigo 16-9. I didn't expect it to be this convincing in favor of MiBR, but as you say, James, we'll be finishing this one off on Mirage.
We will indeed. A very high-pressure situation for MiBR, and they delivered. Can they do the same on Mirage? Can Complexity? Thoughts first from Vertigo of the desk after this break.